Syracuse 66, Florida State 62. Officially the end of the Leonard Hamilton era in Tallahassee. Kind of sad considering how good he's had the Noles running up until the last handful of years. Syracuse had control of this game. Riley, they led by double digits for a majority of the game. We're up 16. I think I saw was the high point in the second half. JJ Starling had 27. He was phenomenal. Best game he's had in a long time. He was phenomenal. And then they just had to hold on. Just had to hold on late. Syracuse has blown a number of big leads on the stretch of the season. Looked like they may be on their way to doing it again, but got it done.
Yeah, I thought it's interesting in the preview we talked about how Florida State would be the more motivated team, doing it for their coach. Syracuse is ready for the year to be over. I can't imagine too many players or fans are especially sold on Red Autry. Yet here we were in this game, and it seemed like Syracuse was the more physical team. They controlled the glass. They out-rebounded the Noles by 10. They got into the paint seemingly at will as they were building that double-digit lead. Jair Davis, who was someone I have long written off as a misplaced mid-major player, somehow had this awesome game, and he's quietly been good in three of Syracuse's last four games. Scored 15 points in the regular season finale against Virginia with four big assists on top of that. Had 14 points, a solid six boards in this one too, and I thought had like the huge block down the stretch of this game on gosh, what's the dude's name for Florida State? Dang, Johnny Dang, I believe. Jerry Dang, excuse me.
Jerry Dang.
Yeah, had a very emphatic block in that to where it's like, okay, maybe. I mean, it's too late for them to be finding something, but at least they didn't completely roll over.
Yeah, that was some fight that I think you wanted to see. Jameer Watkins, 16 and 11. I mean, nothing more you can really say about that. This is the JJ Starling that I think Syracuse fans thought they were going to get for most of the season, that they simply didn't. You also got an engaged Eddie Lampkin, which Eddie Lampkin always pops up in March doing crazy things.
January, February, Lambkin. That's what they say.
He was great. I did feel like there was more juice with Syracuse. And
Yeah.
the broadcast did a good job of pointing this out, where they were like, they did a montage of bench reactions to things, which tells you about the on-court product. But did a montage of bench reaction to things and how engaged Syracuse was. Like you brought it up, we thought Florida State would be because they were more motivated. Syracuse like brought joy to this game. Syracuse
I
brought
mean,
some intensity to this game.
you saw Jair Davis was out there fist pumping. Like
Right.
he's hype that it's I don't know. I've like there have been truly multiple times throughout this year where I've watched Syracuse and it just was beyond lackluster from an energy and effort perspective, and on top of just guys kind of letting it fly, not the best shot selection. Um, yeah, I truly don't know. Like maybe guys do get a little energy when they line up in their conference tournament, or people look at NC State last year and they think, why not us? You know,
Yeah.
like.
Well, that bodes well for Red Autry if they're if they're NC State because they need to be gone next year. Um, yeah, I was impressed with Syracuse. How repeatable do you think this is, though? Because they're going to play SMU, and we'll have a full preview for that on the channel. So make sure you go check that out. We're not going to dive into that matchup right now, but just looking at this Syracuse performance, how repeatable is it?
Oh man. I mean, SMU can really push them from like a physicality perspective. They got a deep front court, but like let's just call it what it is. Neither of those teams are particularly good, and it's probably going to be another ugly game where, I mean, I think SMU has the talent and coaching advantage, but I would have said the same thing with Florida State in this one. I still think I would have expected Leonard Hamilton to coach circles around Red Autry. I thought Taylor Bowen would get the best of Eddie Lampkin. I thought Malik Ewan would do more than give you 8 points. Like Malik Ewan had a really nice assist in the first half, and then I was like, all right, man, I'm out. Like that was what this game felt like to where I still think we're a long ways away from saying, oh, Syracuse is catching fire. It's a 14
Yeah,
win team for a reason. But again, man, like outside of the top three of this league, anyone can lose to anyone. To where
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it probably is repeatable. A team like I wouldn't say I feel especially confident that SMU is going to get it done or knock them back to earth. Like it's it's a weird team, and it's a weird team with like some weird personalities who are weirdly productive. You mentioned it about Eddie Lampkin, where he comes out of hiding every March and has a moment at least. Like he could do that again tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean he could. Eddie Lampkin has won teams games in the tournament before.
Hmm.
He's won TCU games in the tournament before. Um, I'm also not going to put out of the realm possibility for JJ Starling to continue or to put up another performance similar to this.
He was on a heater.
I mean, he was, and the guard play in the ACC isn't necessarily great.
Hmm.
Like he has not met expectations for himself, but those expectations were also there for a reason.
Uh, I think it's not completely meaningless that he like even though he's a junior now, he was a five-star recruit once upon a time. Like he
Yeah.
did have pedigree for a reason, and he's also risen to the occasion against some big time teams. Like I go back to last year when Carolina was a number one seed in the NCAA tournament. Syracuse got smoked in the Dean Dome. A few weeks later, at Syracuse, JJ Starling went off on a really good UNC team. Like he's risen to the occasion against good competition before. And I mean, maybe he's the guy. Like we thought maybe it would be Marcus Burton. I actually thought there was a chance it could be Jameer Watkins. Maybe he's the guard who just catches fire for a couple games in March and pulls off some more upsets. I thought he defended better. Like he was
Yeah.
good on ball. He was getting steals. Like top to bottom, a like fantastic JJ Starling game.
Yeah, if I'm a Syracuse fan, I have hope, which I don't know if I had before this. Like there's some things I saw that maybe be like, okay, well, a, a run could be there. A run
Hmm.
could be there. We'll see. We'll be following along the whole way on the Supers Media YouTube channel. Riley and I are doing previews and recaps for every single game in the ACC tournament. So make sure you like and subscribe.